Welcome, friends. My name is Ann Grace, and I'm the IWMF's Wellness Program Coordinator, and I'm so incredibly thrilled to welcome you to today's wellness webinar. Our guest is Donna DeLuca from Pluta Integrative Oncology and Wellness Center in the other Rochester, that's Rochester, New York. She's here to present the topic of QiGong for mental health. So, whether you experience anxiety or depression, or you just want to care for your own mental well being, get ready for an innovative approach to psychological self care. Just to note that this offering is not in place of professional mental health care, but can be practiced alongside standard medical treatment and medical care. So Donna and I have been going back and forth since I think June of 2024 when we were introduced to each other via Dr. Alyssa Houston, who's the medical director at Pluta and was one of the IWMF's speakers for last year's Ed Forum. And Donna came highly recommended to me. So Donna and I have been going back and forth, and I have been looking forward to this webinar ever since we first started talking. I cannot wait to see how Donna joins together the two modalities of Qigong and trauma-informed mindfulness. So just a little reminder before we set off to sail to stay muted and type your questions into the chat. We'll have a period at the end to ask all of our questions to Donna. And I want to just give a little bit of an introduction to Donna so you know who she is. She is an adjunct instructor at the University of Rochester in the program of dance and movement, as well as at its Pluta Cancer Center. She has an MS in exercise science and behavioral health psychology from Ithaca, and she's trained for the past 8 years with Qigong master Lisa B. O'Shea and is certified to teach by her. Most importantly, she has served as a passionate advocate for radical self-care through her teaching and coaching career for over 40 years, and she herself, friends, is no stranger to chronic illness. So I'm looking forward to hearing how this offering has evolved out of her own healing journey. So first, I just want to throw a quick question to you, Donna, and then let you take it away. What made you say yes to this opportunity to present to our group?
Thank you, Anne Grace. I have a very strong mission to make the miracle of Qigong available, accessible to particularly cancer patients and all people living with chronic illnesses. So it was a no-brainer. That and your charming personality made me really want to collaborate with you and try to reach this community as well as my home community here at Pluto.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today, and I'll let you take it away from here. Thanks.
Thanks. It is totally my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Um, so in my work with cancer patients at Pluto, I have been fortunate enough to have a really unique view about the mental health challenges that are facing cancer patients and how Qigong might help with that. Now, I know there are some of you out there who are wondering, yeah, but what is Qigong? And I am going to explain that to you thoroughly and give you a direct experience of it today. But first, I do want to give a little bit more context to what I'm going to be doing. So we are fortunate to have so many effective medical treatments for cancer, but the side effects of these treatments can add to our emotional imbalances so that even people who aren't usually living with depression or anxiety can come to experience those maybe because of medication or just because of the stress of illness. Because when you become a cancer patient, you really do enter a whole different psychosocial, physical universe. And I've seen how the familial and social and professional relationships can really be impacted in a way that can become so stressful. And I believe that because it's also becoming harder and harder to gain access to affordable, effective, professional mental health care, it is becoming more and more imperative that we have these radical forms of self-care so that we can increase our own agency and help ourselves more effectively. So it is my experience that Qigong is one of the most effective, sustainable, and accessible approaches to that. I'm literally a professor of Qigong at the University of Rochester, and I have some fancy qualifications that allow me to do that, but that is not the place from which I teach. I teach Qigong because about 15 years ago, I became mysteriously ill with a group of symptoms that we now know are identical to long COVID. But this was long before COVID, but it was after several viral infections that I became mysteriously ill. And Western medicine had no help for me. Even the complementary medical treatments that I had used very successfully for other conditions in the past were not helpful to me. And I was a very scared, sick person. And about 5 years into that journey, I met Master Lisa B. O'Shea here in Rochester, and I encountered Qigong. And I knew right away that it could help me and that Lisa could help me. And so I threw myself into it. And within 3 months, I started seeing some positive effects. And within 6 months, I had definitely moved the needle. I was having more energy. I was having fewer infections. And so I just built on that, and it continues to this day. So I teach from a place of passionate commitment and deep personal awareness of the incredible transformative potential of Qigong. Because even before I developed what my diagnosis ultimately was myalgic encephalomyelitis, which is a dysregulation of the autonomic nervous system. But even before I came down with ME, as it is known now, I had lived with depression and anxiety for much of my life. And I have to say that in addition to helping me with all the symptoms of ME, I am much more free of depression and anxiety than at any point in my pre-illness life. So this is why I have chosen to target my training in Qigong toward Qigong for mental health. So I'm very pleased to be with you today and be offering these very simple but powerful practices. All right, so Qi Gong. Qi means life force. Qi is the non-material forces that animate you. Qi is the sparkle in your eye. If you think about an automobile with all its sophisticated equipment, it's not going anywhere without fuel. Well, Qi is the fuel in the human machine. And it's the fuel for all of the activities of the body and the mind. I'm going to use my notes because I get too excited and take too long talking. So I'm going to keep myself on track here because I really want us to do Qigong, not just talk about it. So Gong means skillful work. And luckily for us, many centuries of Chinese practitioners really have preserved the classic forms of this discipline called Qigong. And it's a system of using the mind, movement, and breath to cultivate the life force and to create harmony within oneself as well as with the natural world around us and all the beings that we share this beautiful natural world with. It's a mindful meditative movement practice. So first, we're going to focus on some basic mindfulness skills. I want to do 3 things today. I want to teach you one very basic mindfulness skill that I'm sure many of you who've been in this wellness game for a while have encountered. So we'll just be refreshing that. But if we're introducing you to these basic skills, fantastic. And I want to teach you 2 of those. And then I'm going to teach you a Qigong routine, which is called the 6 healing sounds. And it is the most widely known and used for addressing emotional health. So are you ready to begin? Yeah, I'm looking around. Okay, good. So, the first thing to do before you do any mindfulness practice is to get your wiggle worms out. So, let's wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle, stretch, wiggle, stretch. Breathe, wiggle, stretch. Uh. Okay. So the first thing we're going to learn is super simple, and I call it the powerful pause. The powerful pause is a way to turn your attention inward to develop what's called interoception. Interoception is the new modern scientific terminology for sensing what's going on inside of us mentally and physically. It's wonderful that modern science is catching up with 3,000 years of traditional Chinese medicine. So we're going to be cultivating some interoception today. And you're going to begin by assuming a comfortable erect posture. So you want to make sure your feet are on the ground. Although there's always a person or two in the class who's a yogini who likes to cross their legs. So if that's you, feel free. But I think it's a little bit better if you have your feet on the ground to be grounded for this. That's more the QiGong way than the yoga way. And make sure that your seat is in your chair comfortably and that your spine is easily erect without straining. So the way you turn inward is you're turning inward by focusing on your breathing in a non-judgmental way. The definition of mindfulness that I use is the capacity to pay attention to what's going on inside and outside of you in a non-judgmental, curious way without being overwhelmed. Now, that last part is the important part about trauma-informed practices, because sometimes when we're experiencing stressful circumstances, when we turn inward, we become easily overwhelmed. So today, we're going to do super simple things that are highly unlikely to create any sense of overwhelm. And a good way to make sure that you're grounded and available to your own internal experience is through what we just did, which is feel your feet on the ground. Feel your seat in the chair. Once you've gotten in touch with those sensations, also look around the room and just orient yourself in space because that often has a very reassuring effect on us before we turn inward. And then once you've done that, you can choose to either close your eyes or you can direct your gaze toward a neutral surface and begin noticing your breath. We're not going to try to change the breath. We're just going to notice the breath. You're going to notice each inhale and each exhale. And if it feels good to you, you're going to allow your belly to soften. And you're not going to force anything. You're merely going to allow your breath to drop into your belly for a moment. And your mind will wander. And when it does, you just make a note that says thinking. And then you return your attention to your body and your breath and the present moment. Because the body is always living only in the present moment, even when the mind wanders. Allow each inhale to be like a massage for your chest, and allow each exhale to sink you a little deeper into your body. Take a couple of more breaths. And then we're going to come back out. Open your eyes, move around a little bit. So, at its core, meditation or a powerful pause or mindfulness practice is just listening. It's just listening to ourselves in a deeper and more powerful way. What can inhibit us being able to listen to ourselves in a powerful way is if there's a lot of harsh, critical voices inside our heads. Now, I'm sure none of you can relate to this, but I personally grew up in an environment where there was a whole lot of harsh, critical, judgmental voices coming my way. And these get downloaded and they come to be what we consider our thoughts. But they're not really our thoughts. They're really sort of like the software that got downloaded into our vulnerable beings before we could choose. The other thing about self-judgment is that it's not always from an external source. There's a very disturbing phenomenon that is that one of the ways that a fight or flight stress response can be translated by our consciousness is it can be turned into a relentlessly self-critical position internally, a relentlessly judgmental voice that will never let us be good enough. So sometimes it's external, sometimes it's internal. And the way to work with this, in my opinion, is to cultivate an internal nurturing voice. So that what we want to do is, in a moment, we're going to do a powerful pause again. And the first thing we're going to do is listen to the emotional tone of our thinking. We usually get caught up in the words of our thoughts, but this time we're not going to do that. We're going to notice, is my inner dialogue angry, tense, irritable, happy, carefree, sad, scared? We're just going to notice that, and we're just going to note it with those words: happy, sad, scared. And then we're going to pause again, and we're going to ask ourselves, what do I need to hear right now that is reassuring to me? What would be nurturing to me? And you're going to choose one short, simple phrase. And it can be anything that feels right to you. It can be, you're good enough. It can be, you're a strong, capable person. It can be, it's okay to feel sad. It's normal to be mad. It can be anything that is positive and powerful and supportive of you and where you are right now. But it needs to be short and sweet because the emotional brain responds to short, sweet statements. And this is going to become your mantra, a touchstone for you to return to when stress starts to create the chatter in your brain. Okay? So, if you're not sure about what a nurturing voice sounds like, try to think about how your friend talks to you when you're upset. Try to think about someone whom you know, like Michelle Obama is one of my favorite nurturing voices in my own personal head. I just find her voice so reassuring to me. So if there's someone that you don't know, but you've heard their voice and you relate to it, you can say something to yourself in that voice. And we're not going to take long with this. We're just going to taste it and try to create a little mantra for ourselves. The word mantra is interesting. It actually means the same thing as mantle or shield. So we're choosing a short, sweet mantra to protect ourselves from the criticism that we're all subject to. Okay? So back to your seat, feet on the ground, seat in the chair, mind on the breath, dropping into the belly. And just listening. Just listen. Letting the thoughts pass by like leaves in a stream of water that you're watching from the riverbank. There's a blue leaf, there's a red leaf, there's a log. Not holding on to these thoughts, just noticing them as they inevitably flow through the sky of your mind, which is always open. And asking yourself, what is my emotional tone? Am I tight? Am I mad? Am I gleeful? Am I scared? Keeping the mind on the breath when the mind wanders, because that's its job. It's going to wander. And when you notice that it's come back, rejoice because you're back. And now ask yourself, what short, sweet, simple phrase do I need to hear to reassure myself right now? What would feel good to hear right now? And trust the answer that comes from your gut. The right phrase will cause your breathing to deepen and your body to relax. That's how you know you've hit on the right phrase for you. And say it to yourself the exact same way several times in the kindest possible voice. And then when you're ready, open your eyes, move around a little bit. Okay, I hope that was enjoyable for you. Please hold that thought close to your heart if you become anxious while we're moving along here into the actual six healing sounds practice. Before we begin the six healing sounds, I want to take you on a very brief tour through the six organ systems that give rise to the six healing sounds. So, in traditional Chinese medicine, in QiGong, the organ systems are matrices of energy that are located approximately where the physical organs are located, but they're non material, energetic, functional clusters of energy. And we are going to work with six of them. So we'll begin with the lungs, which are located in TCM, which are in a location roughly where the physical lungs are. So if you want to put your hands over your lungs, or if you don't, that's fine. But if you like to do that, you can do that. So in terms of what we're going to do, the emotional qualities of the lungs are whenever our sadness is not allowed to flow freely, and we're often expected to repress our sadness in this culture, it can become stagnant and it can turn into grief or depression. And so an imbalanced lung system can be full of grief and depression that can be released. When the lungs are imbalanced, they're full of courage. Now, it's interesting. Why is courage seen as the opposite of sadness rather than happiness? Well, it's because sadness is natural. Life is sad. Life is hard. You know that better than anybody. There are very real sad aspects to this life. And it takes courage to face those without suppressing them and running away from them. So the imbalanced lung gives us that courage. It gives us that inspiration. The sound that we will use to dispel the grief, the stuck sadness is S, 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 like a snake. Now, I'm saying them loud so you can hear me, but to work with the sounds when we're doing the movements and the sounds, they'll be very soft because we want to approach anything that's stuck and scared and sad with tenderness. So lungs. And the color is a soft white, like a full moon hanging in the daytime sky. Now we're going down to the kidneys. Now the kidneys are in the back, but interestingly enough, you can really feel the chi or the energy of the kidneys from the front. So if you hold your hands sort of right over where your kidneys are in your back, you might be able to feel your kidney chi. The imbalanced kidneys are full of fear. Like sadness, in this culture, we're often expected to suppress our fear. But come on, we're all afraid. Fear is normal. And when fear is suppressed, it can turn into anxiety. And so we're going to be releasing fear and we're going to be gathering calmness and equanimity. This doesn't mean we won't feel fear. It means that we will have the calmness to contextually experience the fear without becoming overwhelmed by it. And again, we lose this a lot when we undergo severe trauma. We lose that calmness and the balance is wrong. The sound we'll use to release the fear is choo, choo, choo. It's like a soft wave breaking on a shore. The color is dark blue, like the dark blue sea. Kidneys. Next, we'll work with the liver, which is also located on the same area as the physical liver, which is the bottom of the rib cage on the right side of the body. So if you want to put your hand, one hand over your liver and your other hand like this is a liver hug. So the liver is especially tricky for cancer patients, not only because often you have to take so many medicines that the liver has to process through the body and keep the stuff that is needed and let go of the stuff that is not needed, but also because whenever you're in a the liver is the action organ, it's the see-do organ. So whenever you're in a situation where you can't really take action, fix the problem, that's what the liver likes to do. It likes to fix that problem. When it can't, it gets resentful. It gets blocked and you can experience a lot of like simmering resentment and frustration, and you can be prone to outbursts of anger. So an imbalanced liver is a very pissed off liver. A balanced liver, however, really has fluidity and kindness. The other thing about a imbalanced liver is it can get very rigid and tight. I mean, I can feel now, since I've been practicing for 8 years, I just know when I get that tightness right here, it's my liver. And I just need to stop what I'm doing and do a little healing sound, do a little stretching, because the liver is mad. And it's not going to get mad until I pay attention, get happy until I pay attention to it. But the liver basically is full of kindness and fluidity when it's in balance, and it takes action from that place, not the place of resentment and anger. So it's usually more effective action. Next, we're coming to the heart. Now, unlike the physical heart toward the left, sound. The liver sound is like a drop of water on a hot platter. TSSHHHH. So you put your tongue behind your teeth at the top of the mouth and you go, and the color is a fresh spring green. Now we can move on to the heart. Unlike the physical heart, which is toward the left of the chest, in QiGong, we treat the center of the chest as the heart matrix. So the heart is full of love and joy when it's in balance. It's full of connection to yourself, self-esteem. It's full of healthy connections to other people, but with healthy boundaries as well, which is a very important part of healthy connection. Many of us are conditioned to lose ourselves in other people. And that is not healthy. We need to have a healthy self-esteem, a healthy love for self, healthy boundaries. So an imbalanced heart is anxious because it doesn't have safe boundaries and it doesn't have a strong connection to self. The color associated with the heart is, of course, a deep, rich red, like the setting sun, like a red rose or any other red flower you love. These are the classical symbols. And the sound for the heart is like a deep sigh. It's no mistake that when we laugh, we go, ha 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 ha. That's the sound of joy. And that's what those practitioners noticed by observing people. And that's how they created these 6 sounds, by the natural sounds that we make. Now we have the spleen, which is opposite the liver on the left side, bottom of the rib cage. The spleen is also very important, and it works in conjunction with the liver often. The spleen that is out of balance is full of worry and other repetitive negative thoughts and doubt and confusion. When the spleen is in balance, it's actually the spleen's stomach, but we're just going to keep it simple and talk about the spleen. When the spleen is in balance, your digestion is good, you don't have brain fog, you have clarity, and you have a great deal of trust. You trust yourself, you trust your life path, and you trust other people who are deserving of your trust. So a healthy spleen is full of golden sunshine. And the sound of a healthy spleen is tricky, or the spleen sound that releases stagnation is tricky. It's like snoring, okay? If any of you speak Yiddish, it's like challah. So it's CHWOOO. You tighten your throat to make that CH sound. If any of you have done Ujjayi breathing in yoga, you tighten the throat to do Ujjayi breathing. So this is tightening your throat and then making a sound. Okay? And finally, the triple warmer, which is not related to any anatomical organism. It's located in the central channel of the body where the spinal cord is. It runs up to heaven and down to earth. And particularly in modern times, it is viewed as a channel where we clear stress and trauma from the entire organism. The color associated with the central channel with the triple warmer is deep, rich purple, and the sound is Heeee. It's like, but without the, okay? So let's put these into action. 6 sounds. For the lungs, it's which is SSSSS, like a snake. For the kidneys, it's CHEOWWW, like a wave breaking. For the liver, it's TSSHHH, like a drop of water on a hot griddle. For the heart, it's a deep sigh. For the spleen, it's like snoring, tighten the throat, and for the triple warmer, it's hee, like, but it's very soft, like, okay? Good. Back to standing. So, and how's this? Am I good? All right. Great. So, I'd suggest that the best way to learn is to watch me do things once before you try to do it with me, because we learn differently when we're watching. When we watch and do, we might miss some fine points. But when we're just watching, particularly if we're watching something uplifting, it releases a neurochemical into the brain called acetylcholine. And acetylcholine is the precursor to dopamine and serotonin and all the feel-good chemicals. So just by watching, you're actually stimulating a physiological response. So we begin in a comfortable upright posture. Your feet are hip width apart. Your knees are soft. Your tailbone is relaxed downward. Your belly is open. Your shoulders are relaxed without being pulled backward or with your chest sinking. Just very relaxed shoulders, a little space between your arms and your body, a little space between your fingers. And finally, tuck your chin backward 2 millimeters until you feel like you're sort of dangling from a string on the ceiling. And drop your breathing down into your belly and see if you can visualize a low burning campfire in the center of your belly. That is your bio battery where your excess chi gets stored for longevity. So feel that warmth in the middle of your belly. And then we'll begin to cycle through the 6 healing sounds and their movements. So you'll start, watch me, with your hands under, sort of cupping underneath your belly, and you'll inhale and draw the hands up. They'll turn upward at the heart and continue going all the way up, and that's an inhale. You'll look at your hands upward, and then you'll exhale and make the sound and drop the hands back down. So again, your palms are upward underneath your belly. And you inhale smoothly and slowly, and then you rotate your hands and inhale, 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 and exhale. And let's do it again. Palms upward, feeling the lung energy. Slow, smooth inhales, not deep, just slow and smooth. Inhaling upward, rotating upward. And now let go of your sadness. And cross your wrists in hands in front of the lungs and fill your lungs with courage and soft white light. Release your hands down by your side as we move on to the kidneys. We're going to begin by bringing your hands in front of your kidneys, or if you prefer, on the back by the sacrum. I have a little bit of shoulder things that prevent me doing that happily. And in QiGong, the goal is to be happy and comfortable at all times, comfortable in the body. And now we're going to release fear from the body. Watch me all the way through. I'm going to turn and show you. I'm going to gather fear out of my kidneys, and I'm going to release it down the backs of my legs with the sound. And then I'm going to roll up and feel my kidneys again. So when you're ready, join me. Draw fear out of your kidneys. Release it down the backs of your legs. Don't bend too far forward. Bend your knees. See the fear leaving you and going in the ground. And return to the kidneys. Last time, we're going to gather fear out of the kidneys. And we're going to draw calmness and equanimity and dark blue light. And we're going to feel our kidneys being full of this tranquility, this peacefulness, this beautiful watery blue light. And now we're going to move on to the liver on the right side of the body, and we're going to prepare to release our resentment and rigidity and anger out of the liver. So watch me all the way through. I'm going to send it down the outside of the right leg and come up the inside. I'm going to go, and I see the anger entering the earth, and then I'm gathering fresh green energy into my liver. Join me when you're ready. Sending resentment and rigidity out. Gathering kindness, patience, flexibility. Sending rigidity out. Anger leaves the body into the earth. The earth can compost the resentment and anger while you have fresh spring green kindness and fluidity filling your liver. Keep breathing. Feel the knees soft. Feel the belly full. As we move on to the heart, we bring our hands to our heart, and we're going to prepare to release our anxiety, our loneliness, our anything that disconnects us from ourselves and others. We're going to let it go. We're going to move the little fingers together. We're going to open the heart and go, and we're going to gather love and joy into the heart. And then we're going to repeat. Inhale, filling the heart with deep red. Exhale, let go of loneliness and anxiety, especially social anxiety. Let it go. And now, both hands over the middle of the chest with some space between them, feeling the chi of the heart full of love, joy, healthy relationship to self and others. And now we come down to bring our hands facing the earth to work with the spleen energy. We're going to prepare to release worry more than anything. All of us are so prone to worry and other repetitive negative states. We're going to release them outward, and we're going to fill the spleen with golden, sunshiny trust, clarity. So we're going to let go of worry and confusion. This is called pebble in the pond. We go, and then we come back to standing. So visualize yourself standing waist deep in very warm water, and you're just releasing your worry into the water. And the ripples go out like a pebble dropped in a pond. And then you gather the golden trust, stability into the spleen stomach. And you repeat. And you fill the spleen. This time you can do a spleen hug this way if you want. Right hand on the spleen, left hand across. This spleen hug is something I'll do when I'm waiting in line at the post office and I become very worried and I don't want to go in the middle of the post office, but I want to reassure myself. So the spleen hug is a fantastic, discreet QiGong exercise. And releasing the arms down as we move on to the triple warmer, which lives in the central channel of the body. What I want you to do is think about the tip of your head. There's an opening at the top of your head, and there's an opening in your pelvic floor between your legs. And between that is the central channel. And what you're going to do is you're going to watch me all the way through. You're going to inhale and draw your hands up above your head, and you're going to gather dark purple heavenly chi. And then you're going to exhale and draw it down your central channel with the H-E-E-E-E sound so that you're pushing stress out of the body into the earth, and then you repeat. Join me when you're ready. Gather the deep purple universal heavenly chi to replace your stress and anxiety with a see the darkness leaving the central channel, full of radiant purple light, and then coming all the way back up and release down. Those are the 6 healing sounds. Now what I'd like to do is, because the 6 healing sounds promote harmony amongst all of the organ systems, I personally like to do them in a kind of a round robin, one after the other. So now what I'm going to do is give you a couple of classic QiGong exercises to warm up so that you'll have those in your pocket for future use. And then we'll do all 6 healing sounds in a cycle 3 times, and then we'll do a closing. So ready? Yeah. So again, let's bring our hands cupped underneath our lower dantian. So I want you to really visualize that low burning campfire in the center of your belly, having all the energy that you need for your health, your longevity, your recovery from any illnesses, giving you lots of stamina, lots of resilience, living in that low burning campfire in your belly. And now we're going to inhale and separate the hands. And we're going to exhale and gather a ball of golden light between your hands. And then we're going to inhale and separate the hands and roll up with a spinal wave. And we're going to bend the knees and exhale and sink the chest. So spinal wave, gathering the chi, and exhale. You're massaging all the organs, warming them up, warming the spine up, and we're going to pause. And now we're going to sink the chi and calm the heart. This is the #1 exercise for anxiety if you need to get relaxed quick. You want to inhale and very slowly draw your hands up towards your heart. Inhaling smooth and continuous. Exhale through your nose and sink the chi down into the lower body. Inhale. We're cooling down the heart with the waters, and we're warming the waters of the kidney. We want to have warm kidneys, very secure and calm, and a cool, well-related heart. And that's what this exercise does. Inhale through the nose. And if this gets to be too much for you, feel free to open your mouth and breathe through your mouth if the air hunger builds up. One more this way. And release down. Arms to the side, preparing to do the 6 sounds all together. So we begin by the lung sound. Inhale. Come up above the head. Drop the shoulders. Relax the shoulders, even though the arms are up. Make the lung sound. And come around and touch the back of your legs. Visualize the fear in your kidneys going down the backs of the legs. Roll up to the liver. Prepare to release resentment down the right leg. Coming up the inside with the green, fresh light. Preparing to release the heart, open the hands, little fingers together. Gathering back in, cooling the heart, hands flat on the pond, releasing our worry. Gathering sunshine and trust, releasing the arms, gathering the dark purple ease and comfort, releasing the stress. I'm sorry, I did the wrong sound. Heee. And let's repeat that entire sequence. Lungs, inhale, coming up. Drop the shoulders, lift the hands. Around to the back of the thighs, gathering the fear, releasing it to the earth. Coming to the liver, releasing the anger. Coming up the inside of the leg with the fresh green light. Up to the heart. Bringing the heart in, dropping it down. Pebble in the pond, releasing worry. Releasing the hands down, and finally, rolling all the way up and pausing. And now we're going to do a closing. The first thing we're going to do is called the violet Om. It's similar to what we just did with the, but it's for releasing deep-seated trauma. So I want you to allow what I call scars, bugs. Those are my bad memories, my physical wounds, all of my traumas to come. If they're ready to be released, invite them to come out into the periphery of your energy field. And you're going to imagine, when I tell you, watch me first, you're going to do the same movement again for the violet Om, but this time you're going to imagine a pinky purple violet light above your head. That is the highest frequency of light. And you're going to replace the shadow of your personal trauma with the clear violet heavenly light. And the sound you're going to use here is Om, O-M-M-M-M, Om. And this sound you're going to make very loud because it's going to vibrate out any stuck particles out into the periphery of the energy field where they can wash into the earth. This is like a celestial shower, the violet Om. So when you're ready, join me. Inhale, shoulders down, hands up. Visualizing a beautiful pink, purple, violet light above your head. Keep breathing normally. When you're ready, taking a deeper breath, inviting all the trauma to go out of the body. All and rolling all the way up. The imagery here is daybreak coming, lightening up the nighttime earth. So it's a slow replacement of your personal shadow with bright violet light. Now we're going to do a very important closing exercise. We're going to seal the chi into the body, and we're going to communicate with ourselves through something called a yin massage, which is a very loving touch. Because it is a chi massage, you don't have to touch your body right up on your body. You can be this far out from your body and just work with the chi. I personally find it incredibly healing and reassuring to physically touch myself. And what we're going to be doing is tracing all of the yin meridians, or the yin meridians are the stress relieving meridians. They're the meridians that activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So we're going to begin this time at our heart. We're going to focus on our hearts and the goodness in our hearts. And say your mantra to yourself. Focus on your mantra during this exercise to really let it sink deep in your body. And you'll begin by allowing your left arm. I'm going to come a little closer and see if it improves the light situation any. And you're going to, with your right hand, you're going to go to your armpit and you're going to trace down the inside of your arm and around the fingertips and up the outside of the arm, conveying deep tenderness, gentleness, and love. Come across the body. Do the same thing on the opposite arm. Very loving, soft, firm touch, just the right touch for you. Around the fingertips, up the outside of the arm. Hands come to the front of the face. Feel the energy of your hands. Feel the healing power of your hands entering your face and brain. And then move your hands up above your head, around to the back of the head, and to the front again 3 times, pacifying the mind. And now we're going to stroke the throat. This action calms the thyroid and thymus glands. And those are the master glands, so you're calming all of your hormones. It's like you're petting the cat. And then you're going to cool the heart down the middle and brush across the liver and spleen, coming back again, rubbing by your kidneys if you can. And then without bending too far, you bend your knees and stroke down the sides of your legs and across your toes and up the inside. Keep your mind in your body, and then come up the right side, across, down on the left, up on the right, across, down on the left, up on the right, across, down on the left, and pause. You can do this 1, 3, 6, 9 times. And now you're going to gather all of this beautiful qi that you generated in QiGong, and you're going to press it down into the lower dantian. You don't want to leave that qi hanging around on the periphery of your energy field. You want to store it for your own use so that you can remain stable, vital, so you can have a long, healthy life. One more time. And this time, cross your hands over your lower dantian. And bring your feet together. And let your body sway. This is a tender young pine tree in a breeze. Bamboo stalk swaying in the wind. This exercise allows your qi to naturally recalibrate through your entire energy field. Feel the wisdom of your body as your body sways. It knows exactly when to bring you back to center. It knows exactly how to move in a fluid, graceful, natural fashion. Separate your hands and feet. Return to the ready posture that we began in. And I'd like you to summon gratitude back to the heart. Gratitude for the life that we are given. Gratitude for the ancestors, the thousands and thousands of human beings who had to live just to bring us to this moment in time. Gratitude for the great teachers and healers who kept these practices alive so that we today could benefit from them. Gratitude to the healing community that we are fortunate enough to be a part of. And pride and respect for the self that does this important work out of love. We open our heart out into the world. We close our hands and we do a bow. Bring the hands back up to the heart. And return to Wuji posture, ready posture. And it's time to sit. I'm going to have a sip of water. Okay. So we can do one of two things now. We can do another closing exercise that gives you another tool to use for self-regulation that's called tapping along the meridians. Or if Anne Grace thinks it's time, we can open the floor for discussion.
What do you guys think? You want to do some tapping, little tapping first? And then we'll get to questions. And if you have questions, you can begin to type them into the chat and I'll get them to Donna once we do our closing tapping exercise.
Okay. So this is, I'm going to greatly simplify it. It's similar to the yin massage. It's similar to that. But you want to start, this is called, now, I never care about messing up my hair. So if you care about messing up your hair, there are two ways to do it. I think the 10 dragons running through the field is just raking your fingers through your hair. If you want to just tap all the way backward, you can do that. Whichever feels right to you. But start at the hairline. This is the neocortex here. So if you need to be more alert and upbeat, you want to tap on your hairline and then press and hold. And then tap or rake backward. And then along the sides. And to the back of the head, tap along the base of the skull. This is the limbic system right behind here, which is the emotional center. So in addition to tapping, you want to press with your fingers and calm that center down. It's like there. You'll probably notice if you hold those points, that your body relaxes a little more. And then you want to slap your collarbones. There are 2 points on your collarbones that govern the lungs. So this is waking your lungs back up. The lungs are the governor of chi. And then you want to pat down the outside of the arm and up the inside, which is the reverse from what we did before. And go across and pat down and pat up. And then pat along your waist. That's the belt vessel, which governs the kidneys. There's a big meridian, extraordinary meridian there. And then again, down your legs, tap, 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 down the outside of the legs, and pause below the knee and make a fist and loose fist bang on the sore point that's about 3 inches below your knee, halfway between the shin and the side of the knee. This is the 3-mile point. That's a very important point for the spleen stomach. And then keep patting down your legs as far as you comfortably can and come back up your legs. Pat your belly. Release your hands. And that is a basic tapping. That can be used for a lot of things. Like when I teach at the university, I teach at 3:25 in the afternoon, and most of my students are falling asleep. So I have to do like 10 good minutes of to wake them up. So you can tap to wake yourself up and get yourself alert. You can tap to transition from doing a deep QiGong yoga meditation practice into a more active mode in your life. Like if you have to go back to work, you can give yourself a good tap. So those two things are sort of yin and yang counterpoints. The tapping, the meridian tapping, and the yin massage are sort of the yin and yang counterpoints.
So
That's it for me, I think.
so
Would
wonderful.
love to chat with you. I can't wait to hear what you thought about it and what you want to know about it.
Yeah, so friends, we are still recording. So if you have a question that you want to ask but don't want to be in the recording that is going to live on our YouTube channel, you can type it into the chat and I will ask for you. If you don't care a whit about that and you want to just ask your question and be recorded for all time for the ages, you can raise your hand and unmute and ask your question. Or maybe you want to just type into the chat how you're feeling after this session. I know I feel completely different from when we entered into this. Um, Very interesting. So much to learn, right, about the, a whole different system, although not that dissimilar in terms of energy channels, the subtle body and on all of that. Anybody have any questions? We have a lot of nice things coming into the chat. I love Donna. This was brilliant. Looking forward to the great session. Can't wait to see the recording. Have to go. Look forward to the recording. It was really great. Thank you. Um, Anybody have any questions for the uh, esteemed Donna that we have time?
I am always curious, and I know that, oh, calm, Anne, that's fantastic. I really love knowing what people come up with for their mantra, for their statement for themselves. That's obviously highly personal. So if you don't want to share that, that's fine. But I find that people really benefit from hearing one another's statements, one another's mantras, because you might hear something that really sparks, oh, that's what I need. That's what I need. I am at peace. Yes, Gordon. Yes. My breathing relaxed just as soon as I read that. I am healthy.
I can see that this might take me some practice. So I'm going to have to start practicing this with the recording till I get all this straight and I'm not seeking for the right sound, right time. So I think I'll need lots of practice, but I feel great after that. Thank you very much, Donna.
You are very welcome. Yeah, Qigong is not a magic bullet. You get out of it what you put into it. The thing about Qigong is, though, you don't have to do it a lot. You just need to do it regularly. So you can do this whole routine in, 10 minutes. Easy, easy peasy. Less than that. If I only have 5 minutes and I'm really out of balance, I uh I will just do the quick opening and the 6 sounds one time each, or maybe 3 times each, and a quick closing, and it is enough to put me back on my pattern, on my in balance. And really, qigong is best done in really carefully titrated ways. So it's like watering your garden. Okay. If you flood your garden with water, the water is just going to run off or drown the plants. If you drip feed the water into your garden, the plants are going to slowly take that water in and grow to be hardy. Um, so Qigong is the same way. Little pieces of Qigong done regularly with sincerity can be highly transformative. And I'm so touched by Judith's comment, Judith. That brings tears to my eyes, really. Yeah. Bless our friends who see us through this journey, right? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
Questions at all? Any fine points? Do you want me to repeat any of the sounds? Do you want clarification about any of the organ functions? Is there anything that felt a little fuzzy to you?
I'd love to hear all the sounds again. You were kind of far away on a couple of, especially the kidney and the spleen, or the liver and the spleen.
You got it. I'll come even closer. So, lungs, S, 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 like a snake. Kidneys, CHEOWWW, wave breaking on the shore. Liver, sizzling drop of water, like with a T in front of it. Heart, deep sigh. The spleen, WHOOO, with a tight throat. Central channel, triple warmer, hee, but done very softly. Six sounds. Anything else that somebody missed and would like learning reinforcement on? Karen.
The imbalance and the imbalance for the central channel.
The imbalance is stress and trauma. Stress and trauma can get stuck in the central channel. The central channel, the triple warmer, it's called, actually rules the water functions, the various water functions of the chi. It's called the triple warmer or the triple energizer, and it's a complicated system. We've simplified it for this purpose. But basically, you're washing stress and trauma out of the whole body and replacing it with ease and comfort. Thanks for that. It's a good question.
And just so we know, we will have the opportunity to practice with Donna again, not only through this recording, but she's going to be coming back on a seasonal basis. So she'll be here in March, in June, in September, and December to kind of keep us connected with the season. And we'll have also some resources, videos that she's going to share with us so we can practice these things on our own and get to know the sounds and the movements. So I'm so excited to continue this practice. And it's a lot of information coming at us at once, and learning the sounds, learning the movements. But I feel like we're at a very good beginning. So thank you so much, Donna.
Oh, totally my pleasure. May I add a couple of points to that?
Please do.
So seasonal, the reason we came up with seasonal is because I didn't want to overwhelm you with information, but all of the elements that we talked about, all of the organ systems that we talked about are also related to different seasons, because there's different seasons where different organ systems are really active. For example, coming up on March 11th, for the spring, it will be the wood element, which is the liver. The liver is very active in spring. You're changing from a heavier diet and being indoors more to a more active lifestyle and to a different kind of diet. And so the liver has a very different kind of function then. The physical element that's associated with the liver is wood, and in spring the wood element is everything's growing. So we'll be working through the seasons and the organ systems in different kinds of way, but we can always refer back to our basic 6 sounds flow for integration. And also I would say that I have a website that is under development. It's super simple. It's very modest. It's very basic. And right now it has about a 6.5-minute video that I did called Release and Restore that my students just love. but we are producing a 6 healing sounds video that will be posted within the foreseeable future. That's just the 6 sounds for you. So I look forward to going through the seasons with all of you because, again, I didn't want to bring us too far afield. But one of the most important things about Qigong is not just that it balances everything in here, but it's that it reconnects us to the natural world. And what I would say is that the way it does that is very masterful because our culture is really devoted to overthinking. And most of us would believe that the major function of our brain is thinking, but it is not. The major biological function of our brain is the regulation of energy throughout the body. And so we really, in bringing the mind into the body through Qigong, we're really balancing this overthinking and bringing ourselves back to our basic purpose. So that's something I have to teach my students more than anybody else at the university because academia is completely devoted to overthinking. So when I go in and say, don't think, they don't know what to do with that. So Qigong is a great way to return the brain to its natural function.
Donna, I'm curious, how has this practice helped you manage your own chronic illness?
Oh, well, really, I don't want to become too heavy or melodramatic, but when I first got sick, I really could barely get out of the bed. I spent most of my day horizontal. I was very fortunate in that I had just graduated from grad school and I had taken a part-time job with an agency that I was able to do from home. So I was able to keep that job for a few years, just working a few hours a week from home. But other than that, I was really homebound. And I saw a neurologist, immunologists, the whole pantheon of the specialists that we all know and appreciate, except when they can't help us, and they couldn't help me. And it was not until I found Qigong that I actually could get out of bed for a couple of hours a day and didn't have to spend my days horizontal. At the point that I began Qigong, I had to retire even from my small job. I could not function anymore. I was experiencing severe cognitive impact from my illness. So I couldn't be an administrator even anymore. So I was very scared and I was preparing for a life of disability or early death. And as I mentioned earlier, pretty quickly, but let me say this, I'm not telling you do a little bit of Qigong and you'll be fine. I'm telling you that I immediately knew it could help me. So I went to class every week. I worked with Lisa individually every week and received hands-on healing and individual instruction in my personal Qigong practice. I did Qigong practice, a full practice in the morning and 2 small practices every single day. And I devoted myself to it. And therefore, within 3 to 6 months, I really was significantly on the road to recovery. And I had gotten back up to about 85% recovery when I got COVID, not last December, but the December before. And so luckily I was not teaching in the spring semester, but I spent like 9 months amplifying my Qigong work and doing acupuncture and Chinese herbs to get back up. And I'm probably back up at about maybe 65, 70% now post-COVID, but it really took me down again. So post-viral infections are becoming really widespread amongst us. And I just wish I'd known about Qigong earlier in my life, but here we are. Long answer, Anne.
No, I appreciate it. And I think much of it was applicable to this group. I had someone ask me a direct question to summarize the benefits of this practice, and is it meant to be a daily routine? So we did hear a little bit about how you used it. So just some general, and then we'll wrap it up.
So the benefits of Qigong are increased energy, improved sleep, greater mood regulation, greater self-regulation in general, generally improved digestion. Those are the major benefits. Increased mental resilience. If you do struggle with depression, you can often manage the relapses and come out of any relapses, major depressive relapses faster with Qigong. It's a fantastic for managing anxiety. And once you get to know Qigong, you'll find there's just hundreds of routines you can do that are applicable to hundreds of conditions. So it's highly targetable toward your specific needs. And I do private work with people, helping them design individualized routines for themselves. And we're all living organisms. So once you find something that works for you, you can anticipate that what's going to happen is it'll work for you, you'll move along, and then you'll change and your needs will change. Your situation will change, your mood will change, your digestion will change, your sleep will change. And then you'll need to tweak your Qigong practice for your new situation because we're a constantly evolving organism. That's all that comes to mind about it. I don't want to oversell it. But I do call it the multivitamin of mindfulness-based exercise that should be done every day, just like your vitamins.
And for better sleep, does it matter what time of day you do it? Someone has asked me.
It will help your sleep usually done any time of day, but definitely if you are struggling with sleep, you want to reserve 5 to 20 minutes at the end of your day before you're too tired to do it, to do a little sleep Qigong routine. You can do the 6 sounds. The 6 sounds are a fantastic put you to sleep routine.
Thank you so much, Donna. I really appreciate your time, wisdom, and guidance. And I will stop the recording now. And if anybody has any other questions, we can explore those. Very, very nice to have you with us today.
Lovely to be here, Anne Grace. You did such a wonderful job of moderating, and it's such a pleasure to be with all of you in cyberspace. Thank you for entrusting me with your health for this brief period.